welcome to another of my self-made video podcasts. Today we're going to look at anxiety because obviously we are living through unprecedented and difficult times, and our anxiety levels are definitely higher than they normally are. I'd like to preface this really by saying that I'm sure that many of you watching this are going through extremely tough times and you have a lot of worries, and I don't want you to think that I'm minimising these worries for you in any way. I can't, unfortunately, solve them for you. All I can do is suggest some strategies that may help you to manage them better. And one of the things is to try and not go into a spiral of what ifs. We've got problems and they're difficult enough, but if we go, what if my sore eye doesn't get better and I can't get to the eye hospital? What if my son never comes out of his bedroom again now that he's heartbroken because his girlfriend's dumped him? Those sort of what ifs can really lead us into a spiral of doom and gloom, and they don't help us and they don't help the original problem. And something to remember is that it's generally reckoned that only 8% of what we worry about is really worth worrying about. 8%. So that means that the vast majority of stuff that we worry about goes away, or we deal with it, or it doesn't happen. Now I would say it's possible that current circumstances, that percentage has gone up a bit, but even if it's double, and it's 16%, it still means that 84% of things that you're really troubled with are probably not worth worrying about. So that's something to file away. I'd like you also to remember that, we've talked about this before, how important it is at this peculiar time to really keep in touch with the people who matter, and preferably in a way where you hear the sound of their voice, and even better, you can see them through Skype or Zoom or whatever. I remember learning in therapy this phrase: talking helps take the power out of problems. Talking helps take the power out of problems. So that might be something also that you can think about, because a lot of things that are troubling you, if you could only just discuss them with somebody you trust, probably they won't seem quite so bad. So what else can you do to stress bust, if you like? Well, lots of sport and things we can't do at the moment, but we can walk. We're supposed to be allowed to play tennis now. And there are exercise classes online, and I find things like body balance yoga or Pilates very good for taking my mind off things and improving my breathing. Also, I did a podcast before the self-made ones, episode 6 I think it is, on mindfulness, which is a way of bringing yourself into the moment and de-stressing yourself. And I did it with a raisin, or at least I got somebody else to do that. It sounds a bit wacky, but it really works. You might want to try that. And now I'd like to introduce you to something called 7-11 breathing. This isn't just deep breathing. This is doing it in a specific way that will empty out your lungs properly, so you take a deep breath on your in-breath from lower in your lungs, because when we're anxious we tend to go, we pant from up here. This stops that. I'm going to try and demonstrate it, but as I can't breathe and speak, which is a great failing, I'm not sure how well it's going to work. But basically I'm going to breathe in through my nose for 7 and out through my mouth for 11. And this is how it goes. So, I've emptied out my lungs, ready to take a nice deep breath, and that is very calming, and particularly if you're having a panicky night and you're not sleeping and you're worrying, do a session of 7-11 breathing and it will really help. Finally, to come back to the talking, talking is one way that we can increase a hormone called oxytocin. If we're talking and communicating with somebody that we love or who matters to us, we generate higher levels in our bloodstreams of the bonding hormone, oxytocin. This is very important at the moment because when we're stressed, our bloodstreams are full of horrible chemicals, things like cortisol and adrenaline, and they are ruinous on the body, they're bad for the mind, and they're very, very aging. They show up in the face. So yet another reason to get onto Skype with your, you know, best friend or your mum or whoever, and just have a good old chat, because that will generate some oxytocin, which will fight off those bad boys. I hope this has helped, and I'll see you again very soon.